Hello, dear friends. Father Dave asked me to record a quick message to you all after he and I had a conversation where we were reflecting on one of my favorite Advent hymns, O Holy Night. There's a line in there, I know you know it. It's where we're told that the moment that God Himself breaks into our human world through the birth of Jesus, there is a thrill of hope, and the weary world rejoiced. I've had that line kind of swirling around in my head these last couple of weeks of Advent, and there's been a heavy emphasis on that word, weary. I don't know about you all. I don't think I'm alone in this, but I feel weary this Advent. And this goes beyond my usual state of just general tiredness as a mother of 3 small children. This is a deep in my bones sense that the world is not as glittery and cheery as many Christmas songs admonish us to feel. This is a world of sickness and death, of grief and longing, of disconnection and not being able to see our loved ones in person and only being able to see them on this small screen in front of us. This is a world where relationships have been torn apart and people are experiencing loneliness and lack of food or housing or safety or income in ever increasing numbers. This is a weary world indeed. And it is into this very world that Jesus is born. I recently read a reflection from one of my favorite songwriters. Her name is Amanda Opelt. And in it, she's reflecting on her first Christmas season after the death of her only sister at just 36 years old. She writes about her inability to put on a false merriment in the face of such an immense loss. And she's noticing, possibly for the first time, that the very first Christmas was not filled with all the twinkle and lights and bright packages wrapped up in bows that we associate often with Christmas today. She writes, "Our Savior, our Jesus, was born not into a world of tinsel and lights. He was not born into festive finery or the trimmings of prosperity or privilege. He was born into a world of tyrannical occupation, scandal, poverty, uncertainty, and infanticide. A world, I would argue, that sounds a lot like our world today." So how do we sit in this weary and dark world, seeing it as it is, and yet resisting that impulse to paper over the darkness with promises of kisses under the mistletoe? Where can we find a true thrill of hope and rejoicing that is promised to us in the Christmas story? As I continued to read through Opelt's reflection, I was most struck by her statement that perhaps our grief, our weariness of this world this Christmas is a gift. It's a gift because it allows us to experience the world that Jesus actually entered into. It allows us to know Him and the life He came to live with and for us more fully, and in a way that cannot be fully known if all of our Christmases are only ever merry and bright. And to know and be truly and fully known by God Himself, and to feel the buoyant hope of being fiercely loved in the midst of our weariness, that is reason for rejoicing indeed. Blessings to you, dear ones. May you be surprised by the gifts of relentless hope and joy in the middle of your weariness this Advent.